the former IBF lightweight champion, Carlos El Famoso Hernandez.
Thank you, man.
Good to have you here, and wondering what you've been up to, and what your thoughts are on boxing right now, like, since you're no longer fighting.
Yeah, I miss it. Obviously, the working out, the training, the fighting, obviously, the adulation of the fans. But it definitely has changed a lot. I see now it's really becoming a bit more mainstream than it ever was before, which is a good thing. But it's just like I'm not used to all this drama that you see on these social media platforms, and it's something that I don't know if I could get used to it. Maybe I'm just too old school, and I grew up with that, and that's what I like real fighters, and not saying that these guys are not, but it's just too Hollywood for me, and sometimes that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and sometimes people complain to me, and I'm like, I have nothing to do with it, that's boxing. That's how it's becoming. So I guess you could say it has its pros and cons. It's like I said, it's becoming mainstream, a lot more like Jake Paul fighting. I mean, he's bringing in millions of other people that wouldn't have watched boxing before, so that's a plus. Now, on the other hand, I mean, I don't know if I could really fall into that and play that role. It's silly to me. It's just like we're here to fight. Let's do it. I mean, if there's bad blood, there's bad blood. But I never really had that. I was just always professional. Always just wanted to fight and do my thing.
Since you mentioned Jake Paul, there's a fight coming up this Friday with former UFC champion against a boxer. So what's your thoughts on that fight with AnthonyJoshua facing Francis Ngannou?
I think AnthonyJoshua. I think his stock went down when he lost against Ruiz, but the guy could fight and he could punch. So I feel that he's gonna walk through Francis Ngannou. That's just me. I think he's just too strong for that guy. Not saying that Tyson Fury doesn't. It's just I think styles make fights, and Tyson Fury just didn't have the style. Maybe he looked over him and didn't really take it serious in my book. But I think this guy from England, yes, me fue el nombre.
AnthonyJoshua.
AnthonyJoshua, yeah. Hey, I think he has more of a solid type schooling and would give more or less a boxing lesson to Francis and Ngannou. Not saying Francis is bad. He does have a puncher's chance. He punches. You could tell that. He proved that. But I just think Joshua is at another level right
now. Since you mentioned Fury, I once talked to a fighter who said that sometimes fighters, they will bluff in order to get the next opponent thinking that they're not doing so well. And, with Fury looking bad against Ngannou, do you think that was a bluff?
It could be. It could be that. I don't know if see that's the Hollywood part of it. I'm not into that. So I couldn't really say how these guys' the mindset is. My mindset was different. I came from a bad neighborhood, and it wasn't about playing around or doing that. It was more serious. I fought freaking Morales, who's from Tijuana, and it's nasty over there. It's crazy. So you find people that it's different. They don't play around like that. And if a guy were to play around like that in my time, I think the only guy that I really knew or the two guys was Macho Camacho and Maro Paez. Other than that, I really don't remember seeing that. Maybe going down, try to bait another guy to take the fight. I actually think he did go down though from a Ngannou punch. Was it enough to really hurt him? I think it was. I think Francis brings that power from the UFC to boxing, but was it real? Híjole, now that's another question you're gonna have me thinking all night.
Also with Fury, he fought Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin just fought Anthony Joshua, and that Fury fight with Otto Wallin was a close fight. Many thought that Otto Wallin won, and you, of course, you got a lot of close decision losses that you could have won. You could have also won. So you know about that. You know about those close decisions.
Absolutely. There were like 3 or 4 that I could mention that were very close that I thought maybe should have gone my way or at least a freaking draw. But these guys, I mean, I think Tyson Fury, what he has is the favoritism of either fighting at home or being that named guy. And so I think the decision is going to go towards him because it's a business as well. Boxing is a business. Simple as that. I mean, I'm also a boxing promoter, so I also know that, you have to maintain a certain fighter, keep winning because he's the one that's bringing in the yayo.
But for fighting, I didn't really see the business side of it. Like, I didn't really hear much talk about the business side of it. Now it's like every time I talk to someone, that business comes up, the business part of boxing.
Well, as for me, I'm just going to say I think it was better for a Mexican fighter to win than a Salvadorian fighter because, the Mexican crowd are the ones that are going to pay their tickets. They're going to spend money on beer. They're going to be paying for pay-per-view. The Salvadorian community, they're not a big boxing fanatics. They're starting to now, but it wasn't before. So, I mean, I basically was like their first fighter that really came out. And as soon as, I started winning and I started getting bigger fights, it was better for me. I mean, when I won my title, I had more people there than Cotto. Miguel Cotto was there. He fought on the undercard. Juan Manuel Marquez fought. I had more people than he did. And so I brought in a lot of people, but that was it. It wasn't like the Mexican people are going to bring in definitely the higher percentage of fans, and fans equals money.
Yeah, I hear you. But going back to Fury, having to face Usyk and then that fight not happening, everyone's saying that perhaps Fury is somewhat trying to avoid Usyk. And I look at someone like yourself who fought Jesus Chavez, you fought Mayweather Jr., you fought pretty much everyone. You didn't avoid nobody.
No, man. I mean, the only couple of people that I wish I could have fought back in my day that were fighting was Arturo Gatti, Barrera, and probably a couple more there that I can't recall. But Corrales was one as well. I mean, Corrales was one guy. The only guy I kind of really feared, damn, this is gonna be a hard fight, was Nate Campbell. I always thought very highly of that guy, and that guy's a beast.
Yeah, Nate Campbell was exciting to watch. He sure was.
Truly was.
The Galaxy Warrior.
The Galaxy Warrior, correct, from Florida.
That's right. Now let's go and talk more about Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou because I've been paying attention to what Anthony Joshua is saying, and he doesn't seem confident. I don't know if it's with the Andy Reese fight that took his confidence away, or perhaps when he lost back-to-back against Usyk, but he doesn't seem confident by saying that he thinks a 50-50 fight going in against Francis Ngannou, and that he feels that Francis Ngannou is a serious threat, and he's saying he's at the end of his career. So I don't know. Some of these comments are starting to make me wonder.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That could be true, but I also think it's also a way to garner more viewership, from people. You're going to want to get those people interested to sell the fight, and so I think Ruiz. I'm sorry, Joshua. I think he's still competitive, but yeah, I believe he's nearing the end of his career, because I don't feel it. Just depends on how he does with Ngannou. If he does well, I think he still has the chance to stay competitive. But if not, I think he should hang him up. He's just there for paydays.
If Anthony Joshua were to win, you think we can finally see him against Deontay Wilder?
I would love to see that fight. It just unfortunately Deontay had to lose, But there's another guy who's like iffy as well. So I think he's a guy that could fight. He could bang. More than anything, he just relies on his power. But I would love to see. That's the fight. And I don't care, if they're both at the end of their career. That would be a good fight for the fans and for boxing to see these two. I guess I wouldn't call them washed up, but on their way out, kind of. So it would be like their last hurrah, and it would be great for the fans to see a shootout.
Yeah, it would be. And about Anthony Joshua, another concern I have is that he's switched trainers. Is that a good thing or bad thing? Because he's already switched trainers like 3 times now. First it was Robert Garcia, then he left Robert Garcia. He went back to his longtime trainer, and then he left his longtime trainer for Derek James. Why keep switching trainers?
Well, there's times where a fighter needs to. I feel like he's reached that level with the same trainer, and he doesn't feel that improvement anymore. I think he needs to find that one trainer that's going to bring it out of him, that's going to have him listen to him, and teach him new things, not just the same thing. Because boxing is not. It's a science, but it's not too complicated. There's about 5 combinations that you throw, and that's it. There's not like hundreds of different punches, And so I think somebody there needs to grab him and talk to him, because a lot of these fighters as well, they need to be spoken to in a way where you connect spiritually, that connection that you have. And so if you connect with a fighter and have him listen to you and tell him, not just go through the basics, not do this, do that, do this, go through it. Why are we doing this? Why are you turning around this way? What are you going to do? When the guy throws the right hand, left hook, what do you do? So those are things I think he hasn't found. Maybe he did with his first trainer, but now that he's going with another trainer, I think he's just going with the popularity contest type. She's the popular girl, so I'm gonna go date her, type thing. Let's go to homecoming together type,
So Anthony Joshua is mentally strong. You think he's mentally strong?
I don't believe so. I don't. I think he's a strong person, a strong fighter, but mentally and emotionally, I don't think he's there. I don't think this guy Deontay Wilder is there either. I think a guy who's very, very sure of himself and he wins because of the brain, and what he has here is Tyson Fury. But that him going down by Ngannou, man, that was really a shock to me. I was like, I kind of lost a little bit of respect because how do you go down with the guy who's only had zero pro fights in boxing. Come on. I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't like it. And I think the boxing fans would agree with me. It's like, oh, come on, really? Really? You're gonna go down from a UFC fighter? I mean, again, the guy knows how to fight, but he's a UFC fighter, not a boxer. But he may have that one heavy hand that I don't know about. So we'll have to see how he does against Anthony Joshua.
And Francis, now that you mentioned that knockdown, do you think perhaps that gave Francis Ngannou a lot of confidence going into this fight?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think he has that confidence going into this fight. That could be a good or a bad thing, you know. A good thing is like, all right, well, I'm gonna walk through this guy. If I could take some shots, but I just think Anthony Joshua is a strong, heavy hitter. He's a puncher, and he throws combinations. He's not just one punch, or you know, one of these wild guys. He does have good schooling. He does have really good basics. And I think if he puts his punches together, he's going to take Ngannou out. But Ngannou does have the possibility of landing that one clean shot because now you know Anthony Joshua has been touched before and he's been wobbled a few times. And so, I mean, you're talking about guys that could punch, though. So if Francis Ngannou could land a really solid shot, could be a possibility that he knocks Anthony Joshua out. That's the good thing about watching a fight like this because you don't know if the guy could really knock out a guy who was just heavyweight champion of the world and one of the best heavyweight champions.
Well, we did see Andy Reese drop Anthony Joshua. So
yeah,
we've
correct.
Joshua go down.
Exactly, and wobbled a few times, you know. So I think Anthony Joshua was even wobbled with the Klitschko back when he was up and coming. So I mean, he could be stunned. It's just now we I guess the question is, can Ngannou connect and follow up and finish off Anthony Joshua?
Not too many finishers like in the heavyweight division, like Iron Mike Tyson back in the day.
Absolutely. That guy was a finisher. I loved it. I loved his demeanor, his emotion. It was something to copy, you know, and to imitate. You know, when you're a fighter, an upcoming fighter, man, he was the guy that you wanted to be.
Yeah, a lot of us looked up to him. I sure did.
Yeah, so did I, man. So did I. Dude, that dude was a beast. I loved it.
So your final prediction on this fight? What do you
I say Anthony Joshua by knockout. I was gonna say KO, but I'll say by TKO. I think the referee's gonna stop the fight after a pretty good beating from Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua is going to bring in the combinations. That's what I speculate. But obviously, you know, boxing is not written, so we don't know. And this Ngannou guy does have a shot, but my prediction is Anthony Joshua by knockout in the mid to late rounds.
What do you think of the undercard? Because the undercard, we got that Chinese heavyweight Big Bang Shang, he's been calling out some of these guys. Maybe we can see him.
He's been doing, you know, shocking a lot of people. I've been like, dude, I wish I was a heavyweight, man. I would have knocked this guy out, because I mean, this guy has a style that's perfect for some of these guys. I wish Tyson was back in the day. I wish that we had Tyson back now. And or I would love to see Andy Ruiz versus this Chinese guy. I forgot his name, but I don't want to disrespect his name, so I don't know what's his name, but the Chinese guy. And so I think this guy Andy Ruiz would be a perfect opportunity to fight a guy like that, because he does have a string of wins right now, knocking a couple of good name fighters out. So, I mean, his style is so, to me, so basic, but that's what wins. So if it works, I mean, why change it?
Speaking of Andy Ruiz, what happened to Andy Ruiz? We haven't seen him for quite some time.
I believe nobody wants to fight him. I mean, he's a guy that made a name for himself, and I believe that nobody, his name comes up. He sometimes, from what I understand, is that he outbids himself. You know, I mean, I guess he wants too much money sometimes. So at the end, it's not working out, and so it's kind of hard. He's in a hard place because now you got a guy who was heavyweight champion of the world. He loses immediately, but he shocked the world by knocking out a prime AnthonyJoshua. So he's dangerous. He's dangerous. Even though he fought what's his name, Areola, right? He fought Areola. He didn't look so good. I thought he looked a little flat, but he still won. He does bring problems, and I think nobody really wants to face him because he doesn't really bring anything to the table. Like I think the only thing that he does bring is he was heavyweight champion, but he's still Mexican, man. You know, those guys are, you know, they eat a lot of burritos and they're strong. They're strong dudes.
I wonder if these Mexicans eat pupusas as well.
They don't eat pupusas, bro. They eat tacos. Salvadorians. But they should, man. They should. Pupusas is delicious, bro.
I gotta ask you, with your fights, I'll name out some guys, and you tell me who was the toughest guy. Mayweather, Morales, Jesus Chavez, Kevin Kelly, Vicente Escobedo. Which one was the toughest one of the guys that you mentioned?
Mayweather, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the other guys, I mean, they're great opponents, great punchers, great fighters, but Mayweather was definitely the hardest I've ever even, you know, I talk about sparring as well. I sparred everybody. I mean, from De La Hoya to like Johnny Tapia, and he was lighter, but I mean, I sparred Fernando Vargas, you know, I sparred Vernon Forrest, I sparred Shane Mosley, all those guys, but freaking Mayweather, even Roger Mayweather, I used to spar, and so this guy Floyd, man, he's definitely the best, and you know who the other great fighter for me is Oscar De La Hoya. That fool is he was a good freaking fighter. We've only sparred 2 times, but dude, he was my respects. To me, he was like the best I've ever laced my gloves on with.
You know, now that you mentioned De La Hoya, I wasn't a fan at the beginning, but when he beat Fernando Vargas and then he beat Ricardo Mayorga, I became a fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, yeah. I was, we sparred back in like 1995, and he was getting ready for John Molina. And, man, he was, I mean, we sparred great. He did his thing. I did mine. But I just felt he was on top. He was really good. There was no beat down. He didn't beat me up or anything, or I didn't beat him up or anything. But I just felt his speed, his power, his to me, Oscar De La Hoya is the best I've ever trained with. Or I didn't fight him, but I think if we ever fight, you know, he would have been a great opponent, a great fighter. You know what? Better than Mayweather.
Oscar De La Hoya had a good jab.
He had a good jab. He had a good jab, but hey, you know what he had really is that left hook. That left hook. But so like when we sparred, I remember. I mean, we only sparred twice, so it was very memorable for me because it was freaking Oscar De La Hoya. So when I mean, I had to be inside because if not, he would pick me apart with that jab. So his jab was lethal, and his jab was like a fighter's right hand. I mean, because he's left-handed, so that power is in that left hand that he has. It was amazing experience for me, and that was one of the highlights of my career is just sparring him. It was great.
And what was so difficult about Mayweather Jr.? His speed?
But it's not the speed, because the speed, Shane Mosley's faster than he is. The speed that he has is the movement, this kind of movement, and that's not really speed. It's just technical. His technicality of dodging and using his shoulders and his footwork. His footwork. I mean, he did move around a lot. Actually, for me, he ran. So, I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, he runs all the time." No, he doesn't. But with me, he did, because he supposedly hurt his hands and all that. So, Mayweather people, but night without going to the doctors. So how can you have a broken hand and partying?
Sorry, you cut out there. You said Mayweather broke.
Supposedly, that's why the Mayweather people and his fans are saying, "Oh, he ran because he broke his fight." But if he broke his hand, why was he partying all night? He didn't go to the hospital. He was just, hanging around. I think if you broke your hand, you'd go directly to the doctor, to the hospital. But you're there doing press conferences and enjoying the evening. Great guy, but questionable broken hand. He didn't break your hand.
Yeah. I hear you. Carlos Hernandez, it was great having you on my show here.
Thank you, hermano. Thank you for having me, and lots of luck to you and your podcast or your show. And hope we could do this again, man. I enjoy talking about boxing, obviously, and it's kind of hard for me. I don't really talk boxing right now. What I talk about is real estate. So so it's great to talk boxing with you. Thank you.